In 2009, we released our first course on iPhone development called iPhone SDK Essential Training. Now back then, the operating system on the device was still called iPhone OS, not iOS, because there was no iPad yet. It was iPhone OS version 3, and we used the iPhone SDK version 3 to program our apps. Now a lot has changed since then. New hardware, of course, we have the iPad, the iPad 2, the iPhone 4 and 4S. But more importantly for developers, we have much that has been added and improved. So since then, we've released many iOS courses at lynda.com covering features in version 4 of the SDK, and iPad development, the release of Xcode 4, even iOS 5 SDK, game development, and so on. But the original course was falling behind. So this is a completely new version of the Essential Training course to bring it up to date. This course has been recorded from scratch using the latest version of the iOS SDK and Xcode, but more importantly, the newest features and the current best practices for iOS development. Because we now have technologies like multitasking, Grand Central Dispatch, blocks, storyboards, automatic reference counting, none of which were available when I wrote the first course, all of which I'll cover in this one. And while they might sound a little intimidating, all of them make creating an iOS app better and easier than it ever was before. So what does up to date mean? I'm recording this course in early 2012. And right now, the version of the iPhone and iPad operating system is iOS 5, released in October 2011. And in this course, we'll be using the iOS SDK version 5. And our main application is Xcode 4, specifically Xcode 4.3, although any version from Xcode 4.2 upwards will work. Now, if you don't yet have the SDK, or you're not quite sure which version you have, we'll get to that in a moment.